When we talk about the return of Jesus, we often approach it like a date on the calendar, something far off or symbolic, maybe something we'll recognize when it gets closer. But Scripture doesn't leave room for that kind of casual mindset. Jesus himself told us, "No one knows the day or the hour, not the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father." That should immediately tell us something crucial. We won't see it coming. It won't be announced with fireworks or headlines. There won't be a countdown. It will be sudden. It will interrupt normal life. It will split time in two for those who are ready and for those who are not. Think about that. If he said even the angels don't know, that means it won't be obvious to us. It won't happen when everything feels right. In fact, it may come at a time when everything feels wrong, chaotic, noisy, confusing, and it's during those moments that people let their guard down. The church starts focusing on survival instead of revival. Believers start easing into cultural comfort instead of pressing into kingdom purpose. That's exactly the environment where the unexpected happens. You see, Jesus didn't just say he was coming back. He described the condition of the world and even the spiritual climate at the time of his return. He said it would be like the days of Noah, people eating, drinking, marrying, and going about their lives as if judgment wasn't coming. They weren't doing anything particularly evil in that moment. They were just distracted. They were consumed with normal life. That's what makes his return so startling. It comes in the middle of routine, not in the crisis, not in the loud moments, but in the ordinary ones. And that is why we have to be spiritually awake even when everything around us tells us to relax. The church today has become so comfortable with the idea of delay that we've stopped preparing for the reality of his return. We've built systems to sustain our gatherings, structures to support our growth, and strategies to reach more people. And while all of that has its place, we've started measuring spiritual health by metrics Jesus never used. He's not coming back for a church that filled stadiums. He's coming back for a church that filled lamps with oil. A church that was ready in the secret place before it was ever visible in public. This is where the warning becomes personal, because you and I can be surrounded by all the signs of church, worship, preaching, community, service, and still be spiritually asleep. We can attend regularly and still be unprepared. And that's what makes the idea of his return both sobering and motivating. The unexpected nature of it forces us to examine not just what we do for God, but who we are before him. Are we living in a posture of expectation, or have we settled into a passive wait and see religion? There is an urgency that must grip the church again, not the urgency of fear, but of focus. Jesus is not delaying because he forgot. He's delaying because of mercy, because he's giving people time, but that time will run out, and when it does, it won't be the church with the biggest screens or the best social media presence that gets caught up with him. It'll be the church that was awake. The one that was watching, the one that didn't fall asleep when the world said, "You've got time." Imagine a groom coming back for his bride in the middle of the night. The bride doesn't know exactly when he'll arrive, but she has her dress ready, her lamp lit, and her heart full of anticipation. She hasn't been distracted by other things. She hasn't compromised her love. She's ready because she stayed awake. That's the kind of church Jesus is coming for, a bride that's longing for the return, not just living for the moment. The tragedy is not that the world won't see it coming. The world has always lived in darkness. The tragedy is that much of the church may be just as surprised, and if you're surprised, you're not prepared. If you're shocked you weren't watching, that's the danger of spiritual drowsiness. It doesn't feel like rebellion. It feels like routine, but routine without relationship is religion, and religion without readiness is useless when the trumpet sounds. We don't talk about this enough. We talk about blessing, we talk about purpose, we talk about breakthrough, but we don't talk enough about being ready. about keeping oil in our lamps, about staying awake when the world is sleeping. And yet that's the very thing Jesus emphasized again and again. Stay alert, stay ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect.